China's Qing Dynasty was the last and one of the most powerful imperial dynasties in the world. It ruled over a vast and diverse territory for more than 250 years. But how did it collapse in the span of a few decades? What role did a drug called opium play in its downfall? And what were the consequences of the Opium Wars that changed the course of China's history? Let's find out in this video. To understand the opium trade, we need to go back to the 18th century, when China was the world's largest economy and producer of luxury goods. One of these goods was tea, which was highly demanded by the British, who developed a taste for it after they colonized India. However, the Qing Dynasty had strict trade policies that limited foreign trade to a few ports and only accepted silver as payment. This created a trade imbalance, as the British had to pay a lot of silver to buy tea from China, but the Chinese did not buy much from the British. The British were losing a lot of silver, and they needed to find a way to balance the trade. The solution they found was opium, a drug that was produced in India under the British East India Company. Opium was a highly addictive substance that could induce a state of euphoria, relaxation, and pain relief. The British realized that they could sell opium to the Chinese, who would pay for it with silver, and then use that silver to buy tea from China. This way, the British could balance the trade and make a huge profit. The British began to smuggle opium into China in the late 18th century using various methods and routes. They hired local merchants, pirates, and smugglers to transport the opium from India to China and then distributed it through a network of dealers and agents. They also used their diplomatic and military presence in China to protect their opium trade and pressure the Qing authorities to allow it. The British were not the only ones involved in the opium trade, as other Western powers such as France, the United States, and Russia also joined in. The opium trade had a devastating impact on China, as millions of Chinese people became addicted to the drug. The opium addicts spent their money and silver on the drug, neglecting their families, businesses, and duties. The opium trade also drained a lot of silver from China, which was the main currency of the Qing economy. This caused inflation, deflation, and a shortage of money, which disrupted the trade, agriculture, and taxation systems. The opium trade also corrupted the Qing government, as many officials, generals, and nobles were either involved in the trade or addicted to the drug. The opium trade weakened the Qing economy, society, and government, and eroded the Qing's legitimacy and authority. The Qing authorities tried to stop the opium trade by banning the import and use of the drug, but the British merchants ignored the laws and continued to smuggle opium into China illegally. This led to a series of conflicts known as the Opium Wars, which lasted from 1839 to 1860. The Opium Wars were fought between China and Britain, with the support of other Western powers such as France and the United States. The wars were a result of the clash between the King's desire to protect its sovereignty and the British's desire to expand its trade and influence in China. The Opium Wars were disastrous for China, as it was defeated by the superior military and technological might of the Western powers. China was forced to sign unequal treaties that gave the Western powers many privileges and concessions, such as opening up more ports for trade, granting extraterritorial rights to foreigners, paying huge indemnities, and ceding territories such as Hong Kong and Macau. The Opium Wars also exposed the weakness and corruption of the Qing government, which lost the respect and loyalty of its people. The wars triggered a series of rebellions and revolutions that challenged the Qing's rule, such as the Taiping Rebellion, the Boxer Rebellion, and the Xinhai Revolution. These events eventually led to the collapse of the Qing Dynasty in 1912, ending more than 2,000 years of imperial history in China. The Opium Wars are still remembered today as a symbol of China's national humiliation and a motivation for its rise and rejuvenation. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more history videos. See you next time on Fact Freezer.